Hello everyone, today I'll be showing you all how to graft citrus using the bud grafting technique. And first thing to talk about would be your choice of rootstock or seedling. Ideally you want a seedling that grows fast with a good sap content. So for example, I would not choose to graft with putigal because it grows slower and it tends to have a lower sap content than other citrus varieties. Today however, I'll be using the cocoa lime variety as my rootstock. Now to talk about your budwood selection, you're going to select a firm branch that has active growth from a mature bearing tree. And just to show you, while I clipped off some of the leaves, just above the leaves you have active buds, and one of these buds we'll be using today to do our grafting, right? So the first thing to do to prepare this budwood would be to clip off all the leaves, and where you tend to have spikes you simply clip them off as well, right? Now to talk about preparing your rootstock, as you can see I already removed some leaves here and spikes. What you're going to do is select a location on the rootstock where you have a nice flat surface away from spikes and between the leaves, right? I like to go midway between the bottom and the top of the rootstock. You remove all the leaves and all the spikes, right? Then what you're going to do is make a cut just below the bark, about 1/2 inch long, right? What you end up with is this here now. Then you cut off about 2/3 of the bark that you cut, and you would be left with a flap here. Now this flap would serve in seating the bud and keeping it in place. It would be of assistance to you, right? So now to select your bud that you're going to use. As you can see, the lower part of the budwood, we have a more round shape, and closer to the top you have a more triangular shape, right? So the triangular shaped buds are the ones that I actually like to use more. So you select a nice one, and what you're going to do now is simply cut into the bark, below the bark, into the woody material of the budwood, and you try to cut a nice smooth flat surface, right? You're cutting from above the bud, as you can see here, till the same distance behind the bud, and you simply cut that off, right? Now the next important thing to note is that the bud you selected, you need to keep it in the same position that you removed it from the budwood. So it was taken off like this. We are going to put it this exact way onto your rootstock. So you simply place this on the rootstock where it's sitting comfortably, as you can see there, right? You get your grafting tape or plastic that has some stretch in it, and you simply band this up firmly, as firm as possible, to keep the bud exact in place on your rootstock. Give it a nice firm wrap, and you simply tie it in place, right? After wrapping with your grafting tape, you select a nice cool area away from rainfall to avoid water from seeping between the grafting tape, right? You store this for about 3 to 4 weeks. After 3 to 4 weeks, all you simply do is remove the plastic and check to see if the bud remain green and fresh as when you place it on the tree. For example, like this bud here. Once it remain like that, the next step would be to select a location about 1 inch above the point that you grafted and cut that part of the tree halfway through. So I'm just going to show you with the same seedling that I did, right? After cutting it halfway through, you simply bend it over so that the buds that was above the one that you grafted would now be lower, right? What this does is it forces the tree to send energy to the bud that you grafted to increase its chances of growing. So after that, you leave it for about 2 weeks time. At least 2 weeks, you would see it, the bud grow out like this. Once it grows out like this, you simply cut the top part that you cut halfway through, you cut that clean off. And then you allow your new variety that you grafted to grow, right? While it's growing now, you need to pay attention. If you have any other growth happening on the rootstock, you need to simply break that off because you want the tree to focus all its energy on the bud that you grafted. So that's it for the video. I hope it was helpful to you all. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Once I can answer, I will answer, right? Take care everybody. Later.